The studio lights of the view glowed softly, casting warm circles across the polished floor. Before the cameras rolled, there was a calm that felt almost sacred. Crew members moved gently, whispering to one another, adjusting microphones and chairs with careful hands. The audience settled into their seats, a low murmur of anticipation floating through the air like a held breath. Blake Shelton sat backstage, his long frame relaxed but his eyes thoughtful. He had been on many stages before, concert halls filled with music, award shows full of noise, but this place felt different. There was no guitar resting against his leg, no familiar melody waiting to steady him. Here, words would do the work. He rolled his shoulders once, slow and easy, as if reminding himself to stay grounded. Across the set, Joy Behar flipped through her notes with practiced confidence. Her expression was calm, but behind it lived decades of sharp wit and strong opinions. She had seen countless guests come and go, some nervous, some bold, some ready to argue. For her, this was familiar ground. Still, she sensed something unusual in the air, a tension that had nothing to do with stage lights or cameras. When the show began, the applause rose and then faded into silence. The hosts greeted the audience, their voices smooth and welcoming. Blake Shelton was introduced, and he stepped onto the set with a polite smile, waving briefly. He took his seat, nodding respectfully to Joy Behar and the others. At first, the conversation flowed gently. They spoke about music, about life on the road, about small-town roots and big-city stages. Blake Shelton answered in simple, steady words, his voice calm and warm. Joy Behar listened, smiling, adding light humor that drew easy laughter from the audience. But beneath the surface, a deeper topic waited. It hovered in the pauses between sentences, in the way questions slowly shifted direction. The calm introduction was like the stillness before a change in weather, peaceful yet full of quiet promise. As the discussion turned toward culture and values, the mood subtly changed. Joy Behar leaned forward slightly, her tone sharpening just a little. Blake Shelton straightened in his chair, sensing the shift. The studio felt smaller now, the air thicker, as if everyone understood that something meaningful was about to unfold. This was not anger yet. It was simply two worlds approaching each other, cautious but curious. The audience leaned in, drawn by the slow-building tension. No one spoke too loudly. No one rushed. Time itself seemed to slow, allowing every word space to breathe. And in that careful silence, the real conversation was about to begin. Joy Behar spoke first, her voice clear and direct. She asked about responsibility, about influence, about what public figures owe to the people who listen to them. Her words were measured, but they carried weight. This was not an attack, but it was not light conversation either. Blake Shelton listened without interrupting. His hands rested calmly on his knees. When he answered, he chose his words slowly, as if placing each one with care. He spoke about honesty, about staying true to where you come from, about speaking in a voice that feels real rather than rehearsed. The exchange remained respectful, but the temperature in the room rose. Joy Behar challenged his ideas, questioning whether simplicity could sometimes overlook complexity. Blake Shelton nodded, acknowledging her point, but he did not step back. Instead, he leaned into his own experience, describing life beyond headlines and studio walls. As they spoke, the audience felt the pull of a relatable problem. It was the familiar struggle of being misunderstood, of feeling that your values are judged without being fully heard. Blake Shelton's voice remained steady, but emotion lived beneath it. He spoke not just for himself, but for people who often felt unseen. Joy Behar responded with passion of her own. She spoke about progress, about questioning tradition, about the need to challenge comfortable ideas. Her words were sharp but not cruel. They came from a place of conviction, shaped by years of speaking her mind. The conversation no longer belonged only to the hosts and the guest. It belonged to everyone watching. It mirrored countless discussions happening in living rooms and kitchens around the world, where people talk past each other instead of listening. A brief pause followed one particularly strong exchange. The studio fell quiet. Even the cameras seemed to hold still. In that pause, something shifted. The clash was no longer about winning or losing. It was about understanding, even if agreement felt far away. Blake Shelton took a slow breath. When he spoke again, his tone softened. He shared a personal moment, a memory that revealed doubt as well as confidence. It surprised the room. Joy Behar's expression changed, just slightly, as she listened. The clash had reached its center, not with raised voices, but with honesty laid bare. And that honesty began to change the shape of the conversation. The twist came quietly, almost unnoticed at first. Joy Behar, known for her quick responses, waited an extra moment before speaking. That pause spoke volumes. When she did respond, her voice carried less edge and more reflection. She acknowledged Blake Shelton's story, admitting that it added a layer she had not considered. The audience felt a subtle release, like tension easing from tight shoulders. This was not a surrender, but a shift toward something gentler. Blake Shelton met her halfway. He admitted that he did not have all the answers, that certainty can sometimes be a shield. His honesty deepened the atmosphere, turning the clash into a shared exploration rather than a battle. The hosts around them watched quietly, allowing the moment to unfold. The conversation slowed, each sentence followed by a natural pause. It felt like watching two people carefully cross a narrow bridge, aware of the drop on either side, yet committed to reaching the other end. Joy Behar spoke about listening, about how even strong opinions need room to breathe. Blake Shelton nodded, his expression thoughtful. The audience could sense that something meaningful was happening, something rare in live television. This gentle twist transformed the energy in the studio. What had begun as an explosive expectation softened into mutual recognition. They still disagreed, but the disagreement no longer felt sharp. It felt human. Blake Shelton offered a small smile, not of victory, but of respect. Joy Behar returned it, her eyes reflecting both strength and openness. The clash that shocked Hollywood fans was not about destruction after all. It was about the courage to stay present when conversation becomes uncomfortable. As the segment neared its end, the applause rose again, warmer this time. It was not for a clever line or a dramatic moment, but for the honesty shared in real time. The storm had not vanished, but it had changed direction, leaving behind a clearer sky. When the cameras finally cut, the studio exhaled. Crew members moved again, adjusting lights and clearing notes. Blake Shelton stood, thanking the hosts with genuine warmth. Joy Behar shook his hand, her grip firm, her smile sincere. Backstage, the noise faded into a distant hum. Blake Shelton took a moment alone, letting the experience settle. He felt tired, but it was a good kind of tired, the kind that comes from speaking your truth without shouting. Joy Behar returned to her chair, reflecting quietly. She had faced many guests, many arguments, but this one stayed with her. It reminded her that dialogue, even when tense, can still lead somewhere meaningful. For the audience at home, the moment lingered long after the show ended. Social media buzzed, headlines formed, but beneath the noise was something deeper. People talked not just about who said what, but about how it felt to watch two strong voices choose understanding over volume. The emotionally grounded ending was not wrapped in agreement. It was wrapped in respect. Blake Shelton and Joy Behar walked away unchanged in their beliefs, yet altered in their awareness of each other. As the studio lights dimmed, the set of The View returned to quiet. Chairs sat empty, microphones rested, and the space held the echo of a conversation that mattered. In that stillness, the true impact became clear. The clash had shocked Hollywood fans not because it was loud or cruel, but because it showed that even in disagreement, humanity can lead the way. And that, in the end, was a story worth telling.